Coming up on Fulton Today, fighting this year's fast-moving flu strain. We'll tell you what to do and where to go to stay healthy. And young people celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy of nonviolence with a rally of their own. Fulton Today is next.
From the Government Center in downtown Atlanta, you're watching Fulton Today with Shania Chavis.
Welcome to Fulton Today, everybody. I'm Shania Chavis. In the wake of a nationwide flu epidemic, the largest county in the state comes up with its own flu vaccination program. FGTV's Lynn Vaughn joins us now with more on just what actions Fulton County is taking.
That's right, Shania. The county has implemented several initiatives, but one of the measures it took was to offer flu vaccinations to employees and visitors to Government Center right here in downtown. The county held its first flu vaccination drive of this season in September, but in response to the CDC's declaration of a widespread epidemic in the southeastern U.S., health services held this one. At a news conference carried live on FGTV, officials warned there could be severe consequences for those who don't get vaccinated.
We really want to encourage parents and caregivers of those less than 6 months of age to get the flu vaccine.
This strain of the flu isn't new, but it hasn't been around in some time.
The virus mutates on a regular basis. The dominant type of flu that we were seeing prior to this season was the H1N1, which emerged about 2 or 3 years ago. This year, it's a totally different influenza A virus. It's the predominant strain known as H3N2. And the problem is most of the people in the community were born after the last time this virus came through the population.
Employees began arriving to take flu shots as soon as the setup was completed. The $25 fee, they said, was well worth it.
One, I don't want to get sick, and there's been a lot of coverage about people with an extreme case of the flu. A lot of people getting sick, and my wife just got it and got over it, and I just wanted to prevent myself from getting it.
I have a 16-month-old at home, and so kind of, if it was just me, I probably wouldn't care as much, but having him around, I want to make sure that I don't give him anything. So I went and got the shot today when it was offered, and I'd been putting it off a little bit, so I'm glad that they were offered because it's done now.
And Dr. Harris advises we take these precautions.
Hand washing, hand washing, hand washing, hand washing. And you should hand wash with warm, soapy water, but really it's best to stay home if you are sick.
So if you haven't gotten your flu shot yet, it's definitely not too late. The vaccine is readily available at 6 of the county's 8 health centers Monday through Friday until 4 p.m. In Government Center, downtown Atlanta, I'm Lynn Vaughn, FGTV.
All right, thank you very much, Lynn. Now, here is a list of the 6 Fulton Health Centers where flu shots are available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And if you need more information, health services can be reached by phone at 404-612-1211 or online at fultoncountygahealth.org. The other big news in our state, Georgia lawmakers are back in session. They opened up their 40-day session with a long list of items that the county will be closely watching.
The Georgia legislature operates on a biennial basis, and so legislation that was not passed last year has to be reintroduced for 2013. We expect in the area of governance to see some bills calling for the recreation of Melton County, some bills which limit the scope of services that Fulton County can provide, and some bills directed at limiting the powers of the commissioners, such as last year, the bill that would have limited the power of the commissioners to appoint the North Fulton members of the MARTA board.
Earlier this month, the Board of Commissioners voted to eliminate contracts for state and federal lobbyists. County commissioners say they are the best lobbyists for issues important to them and their constituents.
I'm not sure if we...
Now, one issue the county will be working on is to end court supervision of the Rice Street Jail. Now, earlier this month, the county attorney filed a motion to be released from the 6-year-old federal consent decree. Now, this comes after the Board of Commissioners agreed to replace more than 1,300 locks at the county jail. Mark Adger is the chief jailer, and he's here now to explain to us how everything is going. Sir, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Shania. Thanks for having me.
So we're talking about these locks first. Just how long is it going to take to get these new locks at the jail installed and then approved by federal authorities?
Well, I think after the procurement process has been gone through and we've selected a vendor, it will probably take until about November or December of this year to get the locks installed and everything tested to make sure that it works properly. And then after that, it'll be up to the plaintiff's counsel and the federal court to determine when we'll be ready to come out of the consent order.
And sir, what about staffing shortages? How you doing?
Well, right now, our staffing levels here at the Fulton County Jail are at about 93% on average for all mandated positions. We would like to be up to at least 97%, and the plaintiff counsel and the federal court would like for us to maintain that 97% for 3 to 6 months before they evaluate whether or not we'll come out from the consent order.
And the sheriff's office has done quite a bit to try to mitigate the overcrowding. Can you talk to us about that a little bit?
Well, right now the jail isn't overcrowded. We have a total bed count of 2,652 beds. The federal court has capped our population at 2,500 inmates, and we have a classification bed count of about 2,260 inmates. Our population has been ranging between 2,200 and 2,300 inmates for the past several months, so overcrowding has not been an issue. We do find it challenging, though, to separate certain dangerous inmates from other inmate populations so that the jail will be relatively safe.
And finally, what is the next step to getting this consent decree lifted?
Well, I think after the sheriff's office and the county has done all that it can to satisfy the well over 200 items that were in the consent order, and we're down to the last 2 items now, that being inmate population and the jail locks. The courts will come in and evaluate the jail for several months, probably 3 to 6 months, to determine if we're going to maintain the conditions that we have provided, and then they will make a determination with the plaintiff's counsel for the inmates to release us from the consent order.
Okay, Fulton County Chief Jailer Mark Adger, always great information. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Well, the Fulton County Police Department and South Fulton residents are working together to reduce crime in their community. The department is reporting a 5% decrease in burglaries from 2011 to 2012. That also means an increase in arrest.
We have more neighborhood watches. We have more people calling in suspicious persons, and basically keeping an eye out for their fellow neighbors.
Sergeant Scott McBride says their officers are working smarter and harder.
Working with the community, they're pointing out the bad guys, and we are arresting them.
Now, you can keep track of crime in your community. Just go to the police department website and click on the link to crimereports.com. A group of young people celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday with a rally for peace and respect. The Fulton County Youth Commissioners hosted the anti-violence rally at the King Center Auditorium in downtown Atlanta. There were special sessions and lots of information about the damaging effects of bullying.
We're trying to stop the bullying that's ravaging our nation right now. And we have a whole panel of guests speaking out against bullying. We have attorneys, former gang members, and youth leaders such as myself trying to educate the population.
According to the national study by the Centers for Disease Control in 2011, 20% of high school students reported being bullied at school. 16% say they were bullied online.
People, they've been bullied for no apparent reason, just because they're different from other people.
First, I was bullied about my weight, and then kids always talk about me, call me fat. They'd call me Fat Albert, and then to the point I got really mad.
To find out more about the Youth Commissioner Program, contact Coordinator Reginald Crosley. Students in grades 8 to 11 are eligible to participate. And still to come, South Fulton residents learn more about a proposed multi-use trail near Wolf Creek Amphitheater. We'll tell you all about it in our district-by-district coverage next.
Watching Fulton Today.
County commissioners show their support for 2 green space projects, and a new program helps public safety officials become closer to the community in which they serve. Here's this week's District by District coverage.
We begin with Chairman John Eves at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Atlanta Beltline Southwest Connector Trail. The trail will connect the Atlanta Beltline to the Westview neighborhood in southwest Atlanta. Chairman Eves and Atlanta city officials broke ground at Beecher Hills Elementary School, an area where the trail will pass through.
This is evidence of the monies and the dollars that have been put forth for community revitalization. It's just a great day for the county, the city of Atlanta, but it's also very refreshing of how this community, the Beecher Hills community, is going through a renaissance of sorts.
I just want to say thank you so much for this rare opportunity to not only be a part of the community, but to help change the quality of life for everybody here.
The trail will measure 4.5 miles when it's completed. It is a part of the Atlanta Beltline's 33-mile network of trails. Commissioner Rob Pitts leads the charge to locate affordable housing options for Fulton County employees. The Fulton County Board of Commissioners approved a resolution to redevelop vacant residential properties for the First Responders Program. Firefighters and police officers that have been employed full-time for a minimum of 5 years are eligible.
It will help not only in the recruiting of new officers, but also in the retention. After they have been with the force for a period of time, they will qualify for this program. If they stay for a given period of time, they will then own the property free and clear. It's a very unique program. There are other programs out there that address, fix-ups and so forth, but this one will lead to home ownership technically and essentially at no cost.
The First Responders Program also allows participants to live in the community where they work. Bank of America will identify properties to donate to ANDP, Atlanta Neighborhood Development Partnership, Inc., for the program. First responders can also receive up to $10,000 towards rehabilitation of the homes if approved. In District 5, residents prepare to make a decision on a proposed amendment to the Fulton County zoning resolution sponsored by Vice Chair Emma I. Darnell. The Board of Commissioners adopted a resolution to prevent pollution activities in Fulton County's low-income and minority communities.
The next step for this text amendment is to go back before the Community Zoning Board, which it will do in February, and they will make a recommendation and forward that recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, which will be heard in March.
The amendment proposal took place after citizens expressed concern about the findings of a 2012 Green Law report. The study shows that Fulton County has 2 environmental injustice hotspots. Another public hearing will take place on February 19th at Fire Station 11.
We strongly invite the community to come out to these public hearings and give their input into this important issue.
The Citizen Zoning Board will provide feedback regarding the resolution and vote on a decision. And finally, in District 7, South Fulton residents reviewed the design for a multi-use trail to be built near the Wolf Creek Amphitheater. The trail will connect the amphitheater to the new Wolf Creek Library being built on Enon Road.
This trail will be the first trail of many other trails that the county has in its plan. And it's approximately 3/4 of a mile. And 3/4 of a mile, it looks like a small segment, but it's going to open up for additional trails. Unfortunately, we do not have enough funds to extend at this point this first trail that we want to enhance for the county.
About 80 residents attended the meeting and provided feedback to county officials.
The trail, because it's a multi-use trail, it is going to be a 10-foot wide concrete surface, and it's going to accommodate pedestrians as well as bicycles. So it will allow us to go back and forth in both directions.
The Wolf Creek multi-use trail will benefit South Fulton residents for many reasons. They will be able to use the trail for walking, jogging, and biking. Also, the new addition could have a positive effect on property values.
This trail is going to be added value. One of the questions that was asked, what happens to my property value? And simply because of what we're doing here with the initial start of the trails, your property value is going to increase because you're now beginning to have a destination spot.
A recreational complex is also planned for the area near Enon and Miles Roads. Commissioner Edwards hopes to continue this project and eventually develop a path from Camp Creek Marketplace in East Point to the Chattahoochee River. For more information, contact Antonio Valenzuela with the Public Works Department. With this week's District by District coverage, I'm Darrell Peak.
Thank you very much. And still to come, seniors stepping up their healthy living routines. We'll show you when we come back.
watching Fulton Today.
Portions of the following segment are part of the Fulton County Common Ground Initiative. Common Ground, the county's comprehensive solution to the problem of health disparities in the community.
Help for persons living with HIV and AIDS is the focus of this week's Common Ground report. Now, that help is coming in the form of millions of dollars in grant funds through the Ryan White CARE Act. Here to tell us about this is Candace Carty. She is the director of the Ryan White program. Ms. Carty, welcome back to Fulton Today.
And thank you, Shania. It's a pleasure being here with you today.
Well, first things first, tell everybody what types of organizations are eligible for the Ryan White funds.
First of all, let me mention that the funding available is through the Ryan White Part A program, which is a primary care program for individuals who have been diagnosed with HIV and AIDS. The agencies that are eligible to apply are agencies that provide treatment services to individuals who have already been diagnosed with HIV disease. Most of these agencies are HIV/AIDS community-based organizations, health departments, but more importantly, they're not-for-profit organizations.
And Candace, how are these funds typically used?
Ryan White Part A funds are for services which are considered either core medical services or support services. And a core medical service, for example, is a service in the primary care arena, oral health, mental health services, substance abuse services, and case management. So typically our agencies that apply for funding apply for those core medical services. Also, there are supportive services such as legal assistance, food, child care, that also can be funded with these Ryan White funds.
And just when will the funds be distributed?
Currently, we have a request for proposals for fiscal year 2013 funding. And this application is due on March the 1st, 2013. Funding under this request for proposal will cover the period May the 1st through April the 30th.
And any final thoughts about the application process and the program?
Yes, I'd like the audience to know that individuals interested in applying for Ryan White funding, we are offering a technical assistance workshop to ensure that all applicants have a full understanding of the application and to get an idea of the kind of responses that we're looking for. We'll have the technical assistance workshop. The details, you can find out about it by calling our office at 404-612-8285.
All right, Candace Carty, director of the Ryan White program, thank you so much for your time.
And as always, my thanks to FGTV.
Now remember, the application deadline is March 1st at noon, no exceptions. You can call or email your questions to the Ryan White program office. Well, we marked Children's Dental Health Month with a visit to the new Oak Hill Clinic. The Oak Hill Child, Adolescent, and Family Center's 22-acre campus is open after a year of long renovation. Included in the new facility is a state-of-the-art dental clinic. Oak Hill is the county's premier integrated care health center, serving the needs of children and youth up to the age of 21. Dr. Kimberly Lewis manages the county's 5 dental clinics.
This center is going to focus on childhood asthma and childhood obesity. So if we keep childhood obesity in mind, we might want to think about, for Children's Dental Health Month, which takes place in February, trying to reduce children's sugar intake. And I would like parents to know that probably if they reduce their children's intake, they would also reduce their own sugar intake. So some things you might want to try are drinking more water. That's very important. Eliminating fruit juice, opting more for whole fruit.
Now, the dedication and ribbon cutting ceremony for Oak Hill is scheduled for February 8th. Here's a list of the other clinics that offer dental services. Now, it's best to call for an appointment, but if it's an emergency, call as early as you can and the clinic personnel will do their best to get you in that day. Seniors are using music and movement to help them stay healthy and active this year. The East Point North, which is the naturally occurring retirement community, is sponsoring a line dancing class for citizens 55 and older.
Right and left and rock. 2, 3, 4, right.
For the seniors, it's a good way to socialize.
I like line dancing. I line dance already, and I love it.
Oh, I really enjoyed this class today. Anytime I can dance, I'm enjoying myself.
But not only is line dancing fun, it's good for you.
So many wonderful benefits. It gets them active. They enjoy doing it, so they're doing things that they normally wouldn't do. And it actually helps to boost their esteem. It helps them to remember. So it's good for preventing Alzheimer's, because you got to think about the steps constantly, what's next. And it's just a great way of exercising your brain and your body.
It's not too late for you to join in on the fun. The classes are being held at the East Point First Malibu United Methodist Church every Thursday from now until June 13th from 5 to 6 p.m. If you need more information, call 404-762-2094. Remember to bring comfortable shoes. And still to come, children kicking it up for fun. We'll take you there when we come back.
You're watching Fulton Today.
Future World Cup champions could be in the making thanks to a county partnership. Fulton County Parks and Recreation staff teamed up with Amazon Sports nonprofit organization to bring soccer to the South Fulton community.
The partnership between us and Fulton County Parks and Rec has been a great one. They actually have helped us to obtain our goal of to bring soccer to our community, to make it a more flourishing and accommodating sport for all the kids. They put flyers out there for us, and they make sure that the community knows about what we're doing.
Soccer registration opens on February 4th. Parents can register at the Cliftondale Park Monday through Thursday and on Saturdays. You can also call the Cliftondale Park. And finally, a black belt is not required to master this form of martial arts. Fulton County's youngest residents learned flexibility, coordination, balance, and agility through capoeira at the Sandy Springs Branch Library. Now, before class began, children were prepped with a history lesson.
Capoeira is a Brazilian martial art that was formed by slaves about 400 years ago in Brazil. It's a martial art disguised in the form of dance. Because the slaves weren't allowed to practice the martial arts, they had to disguise it. It incorporates a lot of movement, acrobatic movement, music. It's very dynamic.
Now, traditionally, capoeira is practiced barefoot by players in a circle called huda, while onlookers play music. The next class is on Tuesday, January 29th. Check out other classes by visiting afpls.org. Now, before we go, our reminder that we'd like to hear from you about the stories and programs here on FGTV. Go to our website to take a survey or email or call us. The number 404-612-8317. The email address is fgtv.feedback@fultoncountyga.gov. You can also follow us on twitter.com/FGTV, friend us on Facebook, and watch us on YouTube. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. I'm Shania Chavis. Thank you for joining us. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.